Okay, let me just go ahead and start right now. Welcome to creating a dynamic campaign with ActiveCampaign. This is today's webinar. So basically, what we're going to be talking about today would be a couple of things to make sure that you have email messages that are not static. So depending on several factors, you could create these messages so that your goal would be to personalize the message to have a more targeted approach to your message. So today we're going to start by creating fields. We're going to learn how what fields are and what they're used for in email marketing. We're also going to personalize the message, basically to have this feel of personalization basically, and then we're going to create segments to target specific groups of people within our list, and then we're going to use conditional content to create dynamic messages. And then after that, we're going to have a Q&A section. Basically, if you have any questions, just type it in on the question box, and then I'm going to read it off later on, so that I could answer them later on at the end of the webinar presentation. All right. So first, we're going to talk about fields and how it's relevant on ActiveCampaign and also on email marketing. So what are fields? Fields are basically placeholders for information within the software. So generally, when you start a list, so let's just start a new list right now. We're going to name this test 123 list. So if we create this list and then try to actually, let's go back. So if we create this list and then go to the keep on going back there, sorry about that. So if we go to the fields, you'll see that there's three default fields that are included in the on this list. The email field, which is a required field. Basically, this is the identifier for all your subscribers. So this is something that you can't edit and you can't leave out. So even if you click on that required box, you can't uncheck it. And you also have the first name fields and the last name fields. It's already included in the software, but they're not required. So essentially, when you create forms on the software, all you really need would be to collect their email address. And I'll let you know basically during when you're collecting information, the advantages and disadvantages later on. When you use the software, another additional other additional fields that are included, but don't automatically come up right away would be geo fields. So by default, if we click on some subscriber here, so we see Jason, you'll see that the first name and last name are here, the fields, and also Jason's email. And also at the same time, you have other custom fields at the bottom here. There's also other hidden fields that are are gathered right away, like the subscribe date and all that. But all these other fields are all custom fields, and we'll learn how to create that later on. But as I said, there's also other fields that are collected over time. Basically, EGO is one of those groups of fields that are collected over time. If we click on the map here below Jason's picture, you'll see that you'll have a map of the globe. And this represents all the interaction that Jason had or any subscriber has with your campaign. So if they open, they click a link, they subscribe on us, unsubscribe, that would be reflected on the map here and would be represented by one of this pinpoints here. If subscriber interacts with the software or your campaigns in more than one place, and then basically that's going to be the home fields for the subscriber. So in this case, Jason has interacted with a lot with the software in this location. So this is the home field. So we could use these fields later on for personalization, for conditional content, basically for how we're gonna create dynamic campaigns. And you'll see on the right here, there's a bunch of other fields that this profile has. This is called Urja. So Urja is basically a premium service with Active Campaign is exclusively available in Active Campaign. The Urja data is basically data wherein you could pick and choose what you want to subscribe to. So let me just show you an example of how well, what the charges are and what kinds of data you could subscribe to. Here you'll see this is a 500 subscriber plan, $9 per month plan. So essentially the price is based on your plan. So here you'll have a basic info. So if you're subscribed to that, you're just going to be charged 43 cents per month. Uh, if you have 500 subscribers, you'll basically get all the information for all 500 subscribers. And for basic info, you get age and gender. And then for extended info, you get marital status and all these other information. We also have fields for interest. So if you're an online store, this would be great because you'll be able to collect data without actually collecting data. If you're subscribed, we automatically match that with all our data providers, and that is collected for you. So that brings me to the point of collect data collection. When you're trying to collect data, the best thing really is to put as little information on the form as possible, because if you put too much information where your subscribers need to fill out, there's a high chance that they won't complete the form. So if you only have an email address field on your in your form, then it makes it much easier for your subscribers to complete the process. And if you're subscribed to Urja, you'll actually getting all this information just by having the subscriber's email address. All right, so now let's go and try to create a field. So essentially, fields and also other subscriber details are what's going to be driving dynamic campaigns, segmentation, personalization, conditional content. Those are all going to be driven by fields. So how do we create fields? All you have to do is really click on the field button. So if we click on, say here, you'll see that we have all these fields that we've created from basically from the bottom of the last name field. These are all custom fields that we created. So if you click the add a new custom field button, you'll have a pop-up of all the field types. So we have several field types: text input, text area, date, drop down list box, button, checkbox, hidden field. Let me just show you exactly how they're going to look if you put it on a form. So a text box would basically look like how the full name field here is. It's a one-liner box, and it's usually used for gathering information, little information, like for example, a name or an interest or something like that. You also have the text area field type, wherein you could gather information that requires more than one row. So if, for example, if you want to get a comment from your subscriber, then you could create a text area box where they could put in as much information as they want. The date box is self-explanatory. It captures a date that you want to capture. So, if, for example, if you want, if somebody's birthday is important to you, if you want to send them birthday greetings and all that, great stuff, then you could use a date field. There's actually a date picker here that makes it easy for your subscribers to select the fields. If you click on one, you could actually even edit that. So if you want to put 1975, you could just do that by typing it in. Then we have the selection fields: drop down, list box, radio button, and checkbox. The drop down and radio button are similar in the sense that you could only select one option per question or per field. So, for example, if you want to find out if somebody uses an iPhone, an Android phone, or another phone, you could just type in the selection here, and then it makes it easier for your subscribers. Instead of them typing it in, you just let them choose from the selections that you've already typed in for them. And another advantage of that is that it allows you to avoid mistakes, typos, and such. This is really important because when you're creating conditional content, segmentation, and stuff like that, spelling is really important because it basically matches a certain value with a certain value. So if you have incorrect spelling and you're creating a segment um, and you have a typo, you you know those subscribers that has typos would not be included in that segment. So you miss some opportunities with reaching out to some of your client base. The difference between drop down and radio button is that you're able to display the selections all at once with the radio button. With a drop down, you actually have to click on the drop down before you can see the other selections. Radio button usually would be good for if you have um, only a few selections, like say for example male, female. You could put that as a radio button. List box is similar to a radio button in the sense that you are able to display the selections all at once, and the same thing with checkbox. However, the difference is that you're actually able to select more than um, one selection here. So if you have, for example, interests, you have cooking, reading, stuff like that, and most likely there's some of your subscribers would be interested in would have more than one interest, so that you're able to have them select more than one interest. Same thing with checkbox here. The difference between checkbox and list box is that if you want to select more than one selection on the list box, you actually have to press the control key or the count on Windows and command key on Apple when you're trying to select and click the selection. Another field that you don't see here is a hidden field. So basically, you use that for say information that you put in yourself. So for example, if you want to create a customer ID, your subscriber don't really need to fill that out. So you put that as a hidden field, and you fill it out once they fill out the form. All right, so now let's try creating one. So let's say create a text input. Actually, let's do a drop down here just to let you know how you can create a drop down one, create options. So here, if you say like if we are going to our with our example, say phone, we could put iPhone, Android, and other. And if we save that, that's going to be added to our list, and you'll see right away that we have it here. And you could rearrange that if you need to. And then once you create the form, you'll be able to see the selections here. All right, so now let's go to segmentation. Um, let's just pull out our let's go to segmentation. So emailing a target audience. So basically, that's what segmentation allows you to do, is to target specific groups of people. So what is segmentation? Basically, segmentation is dividing a whole into parts. So for example, if you have a population um, of people, you could divide them into male or female. You could also divide them into age group, for example, 25 to 34, 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, so on and so forth. So there's so many things that you could do with segmentation. And this allows you essentially to target, to focus, and to provide your subscribers with more relevant information that they would relate to. So instead of mass emailing people, you're still mass emailing a segment, but instead of doing a shotgun approach and emailing all your subscribers, you're actually just emailing a segment and providing them with the specific information that they want. So, for example, if you determine that a certain group of people that you or are iPhone users, you could send them something that relates with the iPhone, say an iPhone case. So instead of sending everyone a message about iPhone cases, you're actually just sending um, to those who are interested in iPhone. So there's a lot of uses for segmentation, but it's essentially the purpose really is to target the audience that you want to target. So let's create a segment right now. Let's go and do use this test list. I'm just gonna basically use this. I'm gonna delete that. All right, I don't have to delete that. So this is a list segment that we're gonna use. We're gonna create a segment that only includes male individuals. The only reason why I'm using male right now because all of the members of my list is are male. So basically just to show you that it would pull the subscribers. So here you could use many different options here. So you could use subscriber details with it, which are included on the software: first name, email address, last name, when they subscribe, time they subscribe, and all of that stuff. You could also use your custom fields that you've created. So here we've created birthday, biography, city, gender. You can basically use whatever segmentation fields that you want. Aside from fields, we also have geographic field. These are the geo, and all the other ones on the bottom are the urgent data. So if you're subscribed to interest, you could click on that, and these are all the interests that you've subscribed to. So if you subscribe to personal data, these are all the data that you subscribe to. And then aside from fields, you're also able to segment based on actions. So if you want to only send to people who click a certain link, say for example you have a link to Facebook, you only want to target Facebook people who clicked on Facebook, you could do that for using these actions here. But for now, we're just going to do a gender-based segmentation. So we're going to do personal data, then gender. You could say is or is not. So if you want females, you could say is not, and then choose male here. If you want males, you could say is male, and vice versa. You could do is female or is not female. So if I do gender is not female, I it's basically either saying it's male or they don't have a value on their subscriber data. So let's do that just to show you that it does work. So if we click on save and then click on view subscribers, you'll see that all the subscribers here that we have that are male. And just to prove that, we'll just go and look at Jason's urgent data. It does say that he is male. So you'll see here that that it does work. So basically, that's one of the ways that you could segment a list, and that's a simple way. I'll just give you another example before we move on to the other section. I'll give you an example where we use multiple conditions and multiple groups. So here I created a grill example, and I'm just gonna delete this and delete these other conditions so I could show you step by step exactly what I did here. So for this example, we're gonna pretend that we own an online store. We sell all kinds of products. Say we're Amazon, and this week we have a promotion on grill products. Although it's fall right now, maybe that's why we're doing a sale. So we have a sale on grill products, and based on our research, we've determined that the our target market would be male individuals who are interested in cooking, who are between 35 and 55. So what do we do? So we try to do that based on by creating multiple conditions. So first we want to get their gender, male, and then we add another condition. So the second condition is that we want only male individuals that are interested in cooking. So we're going to do that. You could say interested or not interested. And the next step is to add the age group that we want. So if you click on age, you'll see that we have different age groups here. We're trying to target 35 to let's just say 54. 35 to 54. You'll see here that we have a 35 to 44. So if we add another group, another condition, we could we could add that and then click 45 to 54. I don't know if you noticed yet, but with this kind of condition, there is something um, that is not going to work with segmentation. It's right that we have gender, we have male individuals interested in cooking. But as you can see here, if you have both age groups, you'll basically saying that this individual has to be between 35 and 44, and also between 45 and 44. Since every individual only has one age, this would never work out. You could say that we could put or, but the problem with that is that you could only choose and or for all of it. So you can't just choose and or. So by with this, what this is saying now is that somebody that's male and somebody's that interested in cooking, somebody that's age 35 to 44, somebody that is 45 to 44. The problem with this now is that we are also including female individuals that are interested in cooking, females that are 35 44, and females that are 45 and 44. So we have to go back and put that as in. What we need to do is delete this and then add a new segment group. So when we add a new segment group, we can just say we want this group of people, males who are interested in cooking between the ages of 35 and 44, but we also want that other group of people, which are 45 to 44. So we just have to copy the first conditions, add another condition to this group, and then cooking, and then now we can add the age group that we want, 35 45 to 54. So now it makes sense, and you also see that there's an and or here. If we put and, basically we're back to the same problem, so we have to use or. So basically here what we're saying is that we want male individuals interested in cooking who are between ages 35 to 44, or individuals that are male likes cooking and between 45 and 44. So with this, using conditions and using condition groups, we are able to um, add more segments of our list on this one segment. So if we click on save, not sure if we're gonna get anybody, or I don't think anybody was interested in cooking, so nobody was added there. So now if we want to send to that list, we can send that list our grill promotions for this particular online store example that we have. All right, so now we're gonna go to personalization and conditional content. So personalizing your message. Why would you want to personalize? So aside from targeting, aside from relevancy, uh, we also would want to personalize our message, basically to to give the effect that we're sending this message specifically to this individual. So by doing that, they're able to relate more. They basically feel better about getting this email because it basically makes them it makes the email special because this is just they would think that this is just being sent to them. So that's one of the reasons why we would personalize. Aside from that we're also going to talk about in this section dynamic messages. So dynamic messages kind of works like segmentation, but you do it within the email message itself. So you create conditional content. So conditional content basically gives you an if-else statement, which means that if if there's a certain condition, we're gonna put this particular message, and if the condition is not met, then we're gonna put another message on the email. Better illustrate that, I'm just gonna show you an example. So we've created an email here that would use conditional content and personalization. So how do you personalize a message? So one of the best ways to personalize a message would be to address the individual, the subscriber, by their first name. So how do you do that? All personalizations can be done with the personalized message link here. So if you click on that, you'll have all your personalization options here, which includes urgent data and at the bottom the EGO data. And you'll also have all your fields and custom fields here. There's also message options if you want to add an unsubscribe link, a web copy, and all these links. Then you could do that as well. You also have social media options where you could add social sharing links or Facebook like links, or you could add all of them using the social submit links link here. And then other information about your subscriber or about the other personalization options like today's date, um, the sender information, and all that stuff. So since we're trying to personalize this and address the individual by their first name, we can click on first name. So when you click on that, you are given a tag. A tag is placed on the message. You'll see we placed the first name tag also here. If you've ever worked with Microsoft Word and worked with mail merge, it's basically the same concept. So what it does is that you have a particular tag, which is a temporary value, which when you send the campaign will be replaced by the actual value on that field. So this is basically pulling information from the first name field. So if somebody has a value of John on the first name field, this is going to say Dear John. So it's the same way with the subject field here. There are certain personalization tags that you can add on the subject line to make it personalized. And then, like I said, you could also add today's date and then add other options here. So if we want to add a social submit link, um, we could add that right there. Um, we have on each emails that are sent on through our servers, it is required by law that we add um, an unsubscribed link and the sender information link. So I'm just going to show you an example of how that would look. So if you preview that, you'll see all the personalization that we have here. But at the same time, you'll see this unsubscribe link and address at the bottom. This is required by law. So all emails, if you don't put your own, would have this required default sender info and unsubscribe link here. But if you want to add your own, and basically, one of the advantages of that is that you are able to format it based on your own branding or your own style. You could do so by using personalization tags. So one of the personalization tags they use, you need two: the unsubscribe and the sender information. If you only use one, basically what you're gonna do is double the information. So if you just use the unsubscribe link, then you're gonna double the unsubscribe link. So you need the unsubscribe link and also the sender info. So we could click on the unsubscribe link here and then type in whatever information that we want to be displayed for the unsubscription. You could also use, instead of the unsubscribe link, the universal unsubscribe link. So if you have multiple lists, instead of having them unsubscribe from one list, you can unsubscribe them to all lists. And then you would need to put in the sender information. The sender information, if you use this, would display the information multiple lines. If you want this to be displayed in a single line, you just add single line at the end, and that will be displayed as a single line. So other personalization tags that you could add would be um, other would be web copy. So if they're having trouble viewing it on their email, you could have that. You could also have a forward to a friend link as well. So if you want to reach more people, they could click that. Of course the email client has a forward function, but if you have this function, it enables you to track the forwards as well. So that's basic personalization. We're going to move on to conditional content. You'll see that we already have one here, but I'll show you how exactly I was able to create that conditional content. So right next to the personalized message link is the insert conditional content link that when you click will give you a pop-up. So here you could choose um, whatever value that you want. So for example, if I want to choose city here, and let's say you could use whatever criteria here, equals, does not equal, greater, or less than, contains, you could do that. So we could just say equals, and then we say Chicago, and then we click on insert. We're going to be given an if else function. It's a common function in programming, but it's very simple to understand. Basically, what this is saying is that if the subscriber has a field equals to Chicago, then we're gonna say we're gonna give them this message. So we could say, "Hi, Chicago one." If not, they're not from Chicago. They're from everywhere else. Everywhere else, then you could say "Hello world." But in real life, there's always more than one condition. Because of that, you're also able to add the else if condition, which basically, if this is not true, if this is true, you'll put this message in. Um, if not, if this is true, this other condition is true, then you would put this message, and if neither is true, then you would have this message. And this works well with the gender field, because some people would put their gender as male, some people would put the gender as female, but also some people would not put a gender at all. So you also leave room for those subscribers. So here you'll see that we have different messages for different people. If they're male, we're saying, "Hey, we have amazing pants." If female, we have amazing dress. And then if it's somebody else, we have a more generic message which says we have 50% on all items, on most items. So if we click on next, and then we click on preview, I'll show you how the personalization actually is takes effect. So here you'll see subscribe. Well, actually, let's put in a specific email address so you could actually see. So this person is called June AOL. So if we choose that and click on preview, you'll see that the values have changed. Here on the subject says "Hi June." Here I said "Dear June." Our today tag is replaced by the actual date today. And then this June is from Chicago, so it displayed Chicago one. And June is a male individual, so uh, he got this message on his message. And then you'll also see all the personalization tags, the social media tags, the web copy link, forward to a friend link, the unsubscribe links here, and then also the um, single line sender info. And also you'll notice that at the bottom you don't have the default anymore, since we have an unsubscribe link and the sender information tag. Then we've replaced that with our own. We replace the default. And give you another example. So it's just another AC test. Let's see. I believe. Let's try Yahoo here. Preview. All right. So this person is um, um, not male. No, there's also no uh, first name value. So by default, it's gonna put hi subscriber, dear subscriber, and for person also not from Chicago, so it's saying "Hello world," and they're getting this information that is for people that does not have the gender value on their field. So basically, that's the webinar, creating creating dynamic campaigns. So I'm gonna look at the box that we have here, see if we have any questions. We have a few here. Let me just read that out. Okay. So first question is, can you segment based on when a subscriber joined a list? Yeah, you can do that. Let me just show you that right now. I can do, actually just close this. So if you click on list, And then let's choose test list here. All right, let's move this here and then choose list, choose segments, and then create new segment. We're gonna call this subscribe date. So we could create a segment based on that. So here, instead of the fields that you want to choose, you're going to choose action. Sorry about that. You're going to choose subscribe detail and then click date subscribe. So you could choose the date here, choose a specific date, and then you have different variables here. So you could say is 1024. So if you only want for a specific date, then you could do that. If you want to exclude just that date, you could use is not. If you want anybody that is that subscribed after 1024, you could say greater than. If you want to include 1024, then greater than or equal to. If we want before 1024, less than, and then before from 1024 and earlier than less than or equal to. Right. Another question, uh, code editor question. So let's go back to the campaign here. Question is if it's HTML source code. Yes, it is. Basically, if you go to um, the campaign here, you have two tabs, Visual Editor, Code Editor. Visual Editor would give you how it looks visually, and the Code Editor gives you the HTML. So one good thing about ActiveCampaign is that if you have your own, um, if you have your own HTML, if you have your own design, if you want to send a message on Dreamweaver, for example, you could do that. All you have to do is save that file into HTML, open the file on a code editor, and then copy that code and paste it on the code editor. If you want to create a template that you would want to use more than one time, you could actually go to campaigns, email template, and it basically works the same way as a message editor. You have a visual editor and code editor. So you just copy the code from your third-party HTML editor, paste, and then delete this, and then paste it over um, this whole text here, and you'll have your template. And then when you save that, and then you create a campaign, that's going to be one of the selections on the campaign creation. All right, I have one last question. The today code. If I create an email using this code, then sent. Hold on. Then sent uh, the message 3 days later. Would it show the current date to the user? Assume it shows the. Actually, you know what? I actually don't know for sure. I'm assuming it shows that it's a the delivery date. Um, but I'll try to find that out, and then I'll email you when what exactly is used for that date. We have your email on the registration, so I'll just email you. All right. Yeah, you know, you're welcome. All right. So basically, that is the end of our presentation, our um, webinar. Sorry, I lost the my words there, but that is the end of our webinar. Next week, we're going to be discussing the second part of this webinar, which is other advanced options. So if you go to activecampaign.com/webinar, oops, sorry about that. All right, so activecampaigns.com/webinar, you'll see that we have another webinar within basically the same arena. It's an intermediate guide to ActiveCampaign. So it's campaigns with a purpose. So basically, for that, for this particular campaign, for this particular webinar, we're going to teach you how to use or let you know how to use the different campaign types, and also other advanced options like auto posts and all that stuff. So basically, when you have a particular purpose with your campaigns, we're going to show you how to execute that purpose. All right. So once again, thank you very much for joining us at this webinar, and we hope to see you again next week for the other part of our webinar with regards to the advanced features. On behalf of Active Campaign, I thank you again for joining us, and hope to see you soon. Bye.